Today is the day that I take this piece of shit garage door out of here. And I'm going to wrap this whole area with beams that I made and then build some bifold doors. Now, if you see how bent it is, this door was so jacked up when we bought this house that it never even closed before that. For how long, I don't know, but everything about it's jacked up. Look at somebody put a bunch of grease in the track. It barely opens, barely closes with much grabbing and pulling on it. This is what I've had to do to add to the stuff that they've done. And it's just so crazily rigged. Look how they put this up here. You can see the fantastic job that somebody did of putting this up before. Look at how that's attached. It's pretty ridiculous, and I've had it, and now it's going to go. So let's get started. The first thing that I'm going to do is disconnect these springs here. So I've never worked with a garage door. I mean, I've smacked this one with a hammer several hundred times, but I've never actually worked with a garage door. But I do know that a spring should not have any tension on it before you go to mess with it. So that's why this door is open. And so here we just go. I got the springs down on each side. My plan is to take these screws out in between it so that I can disconnect one panel at a time, pull them down, and take them out. And I believe that should be really easy. But just so we don't end up playing a game of whack fuck, we're going to support this door until we're actually ready to take it down. Leverage, baby! We could have built the pyramids. And so as to not be here all day. Oh! Okay, there's the last two on this one. All right, we're loose. All right. We're jiggy. Okay, so we just got that set onto the table. Okay, that's out. All right, let's cut this bitch in half. Alright, that went pretty well, and so now I'll disconnect the rest of them, and we don't have any other springs to worry about. And that's that. Just cut those all out, and now we get to see what else needs to come out and take that out. We'll be finally rid of this door. Alright, she's in. Worked out. So now we're going to see how much space we have, so how big we need to make the doors. And we're going to make 4 doors. 182 inches. I determined what size I want to make my doors, and since I'm going to do half lap joinery to join all of these, I want to go ahead and cut out my left and right legs, the finished size of the door, as well as the parts that go in between, so that when we lay them on each, over the top of each other with this half lap joint, that it'll be the perfect size. So I've got my legs cut out already, and I just need to cut out my tops and bottoms. Alright, so the way I'm going to join these is by using a half lap. So I'm going to take about this much material out of this one, and about this much material out of this one, so that they can sit flat and be one thickness, and be about the toughest joints that I can possibly make for these doors. So I'm just putting on a stacked dado blade so that I can get my widest cut, since I've got to rabbet out 3.5 inches. Now I have everything half lapped, so I can take these smaller pieces and put them on these bigger pieces, and it is absolutely perfect. Look at that. And that makes about one of the strongest joints. It's not going to come apart, that's for sure. Put together the frames of each one of these doors, but what we want to do is add a support so that each door frame looks like this before I put the plywood on, okay? And if this is where the hinges are going to go on this side, then we're going to take and put a piece that goes right in here, okay? So basically this is going to look like this when it's all said and done. We need this piece to keep this at a straight angle. If you put it here, the door could possibly sag. Now, even though we used these half-lap joints that are extremely strong, we still want to make sure we do this, or at least I do, because I don't want to ever have to mess with these doors again. So these are bifold doors. So we're going to make one like that, and then the very next one is going to go the same way with that piece going up this way. But what we're going to do on this one is add one more strengthener. So that way, this keeps that square, and this keeps this part from pushing in from the weight of the door, because the door will kind of be weighted this way. Hope that makes sense. Okay, now the easiest way to do this is not to measure anything at all. It is to set your pieces where they're actually going to go. Okay, so these pieces are going to go in here like this. And I'm going to just mark them from the bottom side. All right, and this is going to be the strongest joint. Now we just have to cut that. This one fit perfectly. You'll see it's a little twisted there, but we're going to try to straighten it out. And It's not really going to make a huge difference. If it does, I'll just sand that top edge off. And what we're going to do is glue and then screw these together. For any projects outdoor, I always use Titebond 3 because it is waterproof and it offers up the most strength you can get from a glue. Here's the 4 doors all glued up, and you see I put a middle stiffener in there. And it even bent that metal bar just a little bit. But I glued them up all at once because you can see I have a lot of clamps, but I would not have enough if I glued them up all individually. And it keeps them all nice and straight. This is my finish project for now. I still have to put some sort of facade on these doors, and some things like the drop in this was just inevitable, but once I put whatever I'm going to put on it, I'm going to make sure that none of that is seen. So what I did was I made this door be the one that unlocks first. So once you take that off, you can pull this up. I always forget to push up on those things first. Okay, and then this one can open up. And it bifolds. Look at that. Nice smooth movement. And then I've got a lock in place right there. Then I can go to this one and pull up this section. Undo these bolts. And this one can fully open and also has its own locking mechanism to hold it put. And there we go. This expanse is 16 feet and each door is 45 inches wide, 2 inches thick. We have the half-lap joinery going on inside, and then I cut the doors to fit. Got the 3/8 plywood, all dug first, so that everything is good for outdoors. This stuff is solid. It's never going to leave. I had to put a bunch of holes in, but I'll take care of that with some plugs. And we're ready to figure out what to put on the front of this. Look at that. Look at that. So close. At least the wind can't really do too much with this. Holding it back. So since I took the big roll-up door off of my shop, now I could actually vault the ceilings because this beam is holding the weight on this beam and that far wall. I'm not sure if I will vault the ceilings, but it gave me so much more room. And you see those 4 lights there? I actually have 2 more that I can put up here, which I wasn't able to put up before because the garage door came all the way over to here, so it really cast a dark shadow onto my table saw. And as you can see, the shop is a disaster, so now that I'm done with the door, I can get to cleaning that up. Oh, and I got this really cool porthole that I want to clean up and install in one of my doors.